More recently, I've had the privilege to engage prison reform, carceral reform, or better said, efforts of reform that seek to empower the lives of justice-impacted individuals. There really are quite a bit of folks and initiatives out there designed to either allow incarceration to be a healthy time of correction, transition, and change, and or to end the ills of incarceration altogether. When I came home from prison in 2006, ready to put my best foot forward, I had maxed out, I had no post-release supervision, and unfortunately, to go along with that, no resources at my disposal. So I knew that I had to go ahead and get enrolled in school and get a job. I had received my GED while in the county jail. I participated in quite a few different programs and held jobs. I was ever ready to continue my education. So I went about job interviews. My first job interview I had was with UPS, and unfortunately how that turned out, I had not been home long enough for them to employ me, and this set me in a bit of a frenzy because I knew that I needed to have a job in order not to go back to prison. So I began putting out information everywhere I could, and I had served as a cook in the correctional institution, so when I applied, I put on the resume, as I was encouraged to do so, that I worked in corrections as a cook. When I went to the job interview, the employer immediately asked me and joked in a sort of condescending way, "What, were you in the prison?" To which, of course, I had to awkwardly respond, yes. However, I did go ahead and get plenty of jobs since my time in prison. I served as a line cook, I served as a laborer, I even ended up with a job at Victoria's Secret as a stock guy and eventually as a salesman. I was more than willing to take any job and every job that I could possibly get. I want to share with you one of the many prison stories that I have, and have you consider with me the trauma that it had and the trauma that it would continue to manifest unto this day. So here I was, a gang member in a correctional facility on the outs with all the other gangs. Over time, this became noted and noticed by the corrections officers. So one day I was called down to the sergeant's office, and he laid in front of me a booklet of pictures and asked me which gang each of these people were in. Obviously, I refused. He reminded me how complicated, or to quote him verbatim, would be, you know that I can make your prison sentence a living hell. Left the office refusing to comply with him asking me to tell him who these people were. Next day, I woke up to a ticket that I had participated in unauthorized gang activity. Upon receiving the ticket, I spoke with others, and of course they said, well, when you go to the hearing, ask for the tape. I went to the hearing, obviously thinking I had the truth on my side, requested that the tape would be played because I had not said what this ticket said was that I had issued a gang threat to someone through the person I was speaking to on the phone, which was not correct, never happened. So I asked for them to play the tape. They had me wait in a small room, cuffed of course, to wait for the hearing to be complete. And they came back to the hearing, they played the tape, which was my voice. Out of nowhere, the tape went into a sort of fumbled noise and didn't work. I looked at the officer and he said, well, it's an officer's word against yours. From that incident, I was given 6 months in solitary confinement, loss of privileges. I was transferred to a new facility to be in the special housing unit, and that carried me through the rest of my prison sentence. I ask you to consider with me, how would that make you feel? How does that make you feel as you hear that story? How would you have felt if you were the person in that situation? How do you feel for me? Do you understand the trauma that that would cause? Since that day, of course, the lasting traumatic effect that I would have is a complete distrust in individuals involved in the legal system, a complete distrust for positive outcomes, as again, that seemed like a very simple fix. Let me hear the recording. And of course, it's put me in a position to see where abuse and power and authority can be manifest. Needs to be called out. A bit more accountability, if you will, needs to be offered up. How should we feel when we hear such stories of the abuse of authority and traumatic experiences that folks are having within the incarceration system? I believe it's evident that there's no quick fix. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. That doesn't and wouldn't do justice to to the traumatic situations that individuals have had. There can be no complacency, though, and simply carrying sentiments won't work. We must see action and reform. It was Dietrich Bonhoeffer who said it best: prayer and righteous action.
Having walked the road of incarceration himself, Michael Miano seeks to be an advocate, a friend, a pastor, a reformer, a social engineer. There is a lot happening in the social justice community. Michael Miano considers it a privilege to be in the mix. Contact Michael Miano through email at pastormikemiano@yahoo.com.